Okay, so if you just want to start by introducing yourself, like tell me a little bit about what you do, what you did as a travel nurse, just that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, good evening, Miss Janice.
Yeah.
Shelly Fancher, and I am a registered nurse. And you specifically asked me about my role as a
Yes,
nurse.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Keep in mind that my nursing were back in 1997.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sweet girl. I did that for about 2.5 years, close to two. So I ended in 1999.
Yes, ma'am. Wow.
I know, olden days, right? So, so we'll specifically focus on my travel nursing
Hmm.
as requested. So back during that time, I had 6 different assignments in 6 different states.
Okay, yeah.
I worked in, I believe, around 8 different facilities. Some of the assignments, they had me floating outside of their main facility.
Hmm.
And I don't know, you kind of made me kind of go back and think about
Well,
those
good.
times. It made
Uh-huh.
me smile a little bit,
Oh,
remember,
good.
and
Uh-huh.
some of the challenges and some of
Hmm.
how it made me feel. And so it was kind of fun answering those questions,
Yeah,
but
good.
it racked my brain there for a minute. Um, so I went to just for grins and giggles.
Yeah.
Started out in Charleston, West Virginia,
Wow.
cold country. Uh, it was a good place to start, I think.
Hmm.
I did all of my travel assignments in my foundational area of practice. So I focus all of my clinical bedside time in the post anesthesia care unit, which we call
Okay.
the
Okay.
that was my specialty.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then after West Virginia, I went over to Morristown, New Jersey. So talk about night and day. These places were night and day different
Wow.
as
Yeah.
far as patient population, staff that I was working with, because Morristown is only about a 40-minute train ride into New York City.
Yeah.
So big city versus country, like
Uh-huh.
the mountains. I called them in the mountains because I was from Indiana
Right.
and Indiana is flat. So
Right.
it seemed very mountainous to me, and they laughed at me when I said,
Uh-huh. Yes.
girl, those aren't even the foothills. Like,
You're like, to me, they're big mountains.
what?
I said, to you, they're big mountains, huh? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I had to go up a switchback to get to
Yeah.
my apartment. So,
Yeah.
and from New Jersey, I went to Johns Hopkins.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so that was another almost a culture shock for me because it was a huge teaching hospital
Right.
with, I mean, not only did we have the primary physician, but then we had residents and fellows, and we had not only in surgery services, but also in anesthesia services. So it was a lot, but a lot of good memories there and a lot of young uh, healthcare professionals.
Mhm.
So for me, that was fun because I was young and single back in
Yeah.
that time. So it was nice. From there, I went to Jackson, Michigan. Now, again, I'm from Indiana and it was the holidays. So I
Uh-huh.
chose Michigan so I could be close to home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you did
And
get
then,
some sort of like choice in where you went or no? Okay.
yeah, I did. Well, I did with the exception of because I was choosing to stay within my comfort zone,
Mhm.
like my background of
Yeah.
post anesthesia care, it was limited.
Yeah.
I could choose to go whatever assignments were available,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I stuck to that perioperative services
Okay.
role.
Makes sense. Yes.
From there, I went to Phoenix, Arizona,
Yeah.
and spent some time out there.
Yeah.
And then from there, I went to Sacramento, California. And at that point, that is when I was actually starting to get homesick.
Yes.
Um, so it'd been just a little over 2 years, and I'm like, I think I think I've done it. I never thought I would say that. I
Yeah.
never back to India, but I
Yeah.
did. And so anyhow, I think that's kind of the gist of the background
Uh-huh.
for this particular assignment.
Yes. Okay, well that kind of leads me into one of my questions. About like how you adjusted to being away from home for so long for like so many, periods of time, for long periods of time. I'm trying to find.
So, okay, so again, let's think about this because this was in 1997 to 1999, and you're going to find this really hard to believe, but cell phones weren't really a thing.
Yeah.
Like the little bag phones, I
Mhm.
didn't have because it was very new and
Yeah.
very at that time. So it was a bit more challenging to stay in contact with
Yeah.
back home,
Hmm.
except I didn't know any different,
Yeah.
right?
It didn't seem
So
hard at the time because you didn't know.
did.
Yeah.
We just called each other. So
Yeah.
I just stayed in touch with my family. And I will tell you, um, I had one of my very best friends.
Hmm.
She came and visited me at every single location except for one.
That's so,
So
yeah.
that made it fun. It gave me something to look forward to, something to plan.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind, we didn't have things like Instagram and Snapchat and
Right.
Yelp and things
Yeah.
like that. We just
Right.
didn't have to figure things out. I
Hmm.
mean, I don't have MapQuest, Jess. I had to, I mean, I didn't have GPS. I had to
Yeah.
MapQuest everything. Like I
Yeah.
had to put it in and print it out and
Yeah.
load up in my
I,
car and
yeah.
go find them.
I think I
So
could never go anywhere if I had to do
I,
that.
well,
Yeah.
I tell you, I would be lost without it these days too. But back in the day, I didn't know any different.
Yeah.
But so I stayed in contact. But here's the other thing for me. I mean, I think it takes a certain personality to be able to do what I did at that time.
Yes.
Um, I had a good friend, colleague back home. Her and I started talking about it, and we were like, "Yeah, let's go do this. Oh, it sounds like so much fun." And when push came to shove, she's like, "Yeah, I can do it." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, I've already committed myself.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
already
going.
in it. Yes. Yes. So
I'm
what
in
do
it
you
by myself."
so what do you think
And
is a good personality trait to have? Yeah.
and I think for me, like I know lots of people would never be able to do that, but for
Yeah.
me, I made friends easily. I
Yeah.
wasn't shy.
Yes.
I wasn't afraid to put myself out there.
Mhm.
So away I went.
Yeah.
So I think I was able to make new friends in most every setting that
That's
I went to. So
yeah.
I think that adjustment, and then I think the other thing was I stuck to what I knew as far as my clinical
Yeah.
background and
So
experience,
you
and
knew a lot
that
about what
helps.
you were doing and yeah. You were able to trust yourself and you weren't trying to learn new things. I feel like that.
I
Yes.
skill set, I was confident in that skill set, and
Hmm.
so everything else was new, but my clinical practice was basically the same
Yeah.
everywhere, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. So do you think like overall, like most nurses and, everyone that you were working with was like, they were like not reluctant to let you like come in and help? Like, do you ever felt like you were like pushed out because you were like new, or do you think everyone kind of just let you in and showed you the ropes like pretty easily?
I do think that for the most part, that was the general consensus because
Mhm.
one, the agency that I worked for, I stayed with the same agency. And so I got to know my recruiter.
Yeah.
Um, she was very good at telling me where to stay away from.
Hmm.
So like, for instance, they didn't really want me going to any places that had a union where they were striking.
Hmm.
And you would have to cross the picket line to go into the facility because that could be really dangerous. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just not a good situation. So
Hmm.
if you don't go to those places. Now
Yeah.
the pay was
Yeah.
they paid, but I wasn't really in it for the pay as much as the experience.
Hmm.
So for the most part, I do have one little story that I'll share with you,
Yeah, please.
just for it.
Yeah.
If it's more than you need
No,
on, but
no, you're good.
um, So my last assignment was in California. And by this time, I was pretty efficient at what I was. I knew, I knew the ropes by this time,
Mm-hmm.
we're 2 years in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working at this very small little facility. I mean, it was tiny. I was just like, this is the smallest place I've ever
Yeah.
been.
Yeah.
Um, it was a 1-story little surgical, it was a hospital, but I think they were really kind of transitioning it out.
Uh-huh.
Their stuff. But anyhow, so there were only 2 nurses that worked in their PACU. One was retiring.
Mm-hmm.
And so they brought me in to be that second nurse because I think they were kind of trying to decide if they were going to phase out their surgical program.
Right. Right. Okay.
So I was there working with both of them in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and then the older nurse retired.
Mm-hmm.
And so my assignments were usually 13 weeks long, although I think in California, I actually was there for a double assignment. I signed
Oh,
up for
wow.
6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, 6 months in California. And so, halfway into my assignment, the one nurse had retired, and the nurse that I was working with, of course, it's just her and I. So you
Mm-hmm.
get close, right? You
Yeah.
get to
Right.
know one another and
Yeah.
you talk. And she goes, I have to tell you something. And I said, okay,
Yeah.
what? She goes, okay, so I think the other nurse's name was Elaine. That just came to
Yeah.
me. She goes, Elaine told me when she left that I really needed to watch you closely. I'm like, what?
What? Yeah.
Well, she pointed out to me that you have very large pupils and that you could be diverting. Do you know what diversion is?
Like a little, I've heard of it, but not like, oh,
Diversion in the healthcare industry is stealing narcotics
okay. 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 Yes.
for whatever purpose, your own purpose to sell,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
But narcotics can make your pupils dilated if you're
Right.
taking them.
Okay. Yeah.
And so she told her, I think her name was Renee.
Yeah.
She's like, well, you got to watch her closely. And so Renee felt close. We bonded. I
Right.
built trust. And at that point, she's like, I have to tell you a funny story. I
Yeah.
said, oh,
It
I
was
wonder
funny at the time.
how many other people thought
Yeah.
this. And I do have large pupils.
Yes.
That's just how I made.
Yeah.
And so I say that to say, I think people are cautious of
Yeah.
you and they're thinking
Mhm.
like, why is this person wanting to travel? And
Yes.
why are they going from place to
For
place?
short periods of
Um,
time. Yeah. Yeah.
but once they got to know me and realized I was just some young single girl who wanted
Yeah.
the excitement and the opportunity presented itself, and so I did it.
To learn
So
in all different places. Yeah. Um,
yeah, so
so
I think,
another, oh, keep going.
oh,
Okay,
right.
I was gonna say like another question. So it's good that you didn't have any like, direct conflict, but um if you were to, like if Eileen would have, started something while she was working there and like saying all these things, like how would you have liked to see that be handled? Like if she had come to you directly, do you think you would have been like very like confrontational about it? Or like maybe if she had told Renee on the side and it got back to you, or like, how do you think you would have handled it if it would have happened like while you were there with her?
Time like handling would really like it's best to be direct,
Yeah.
but also to be respectful,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I think it's important that you go into it with it's not right. It's not even a them problem. They're just protecting their domain.
Right.
And as nurses, we're trained to be observant. And so I think in certain situations, you have to be confident who you are and what you're doing and why. And then you have to judge the personality.
Yeah.
I
The other
the,
person.
the best way to deal with conflict is to go directly to the source,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And have an honest conversation
Mm-hmm.
and say, I hear you have some concerns. We
Mm-hmm.
talk from your concerns. I respect that you want to protect your patients and your colleagues, and I respect that. So I mean, it's about respect,
Yes,
and I think
definitely.
relationship building.
Mhm.
And I mean, it doesn't always work. I'm not gonna lie to you, Jess. I mean, personalities are personalities.
Yes.
We can't get along with everyone all the time.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
just have to do our best and approach it in a positive manner without being taking it,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah. That makes total sense. And you don't want to sometimes you don't want to attack the other person and then they might just, blow up or get worse or yeah.
Retaliate
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
go to their supervisor and
Yeah.
then twist the
Yeah.
situation.
Yes.
It is a delicate subject. Conflict is always a delicate
Yeah.
subject. You've dealt with conflict already in your young life. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure it does. And
Hmm.
I think it's even worse to be
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and we're all learning. Like we're learning as a society,
Hmm.
how to handle conflict maybe
Yeah.
a little better than we did in the past. Maybe almost to a fault at this point, but
Yes. Yes. Okay, well, shifting a little bit, so you've said you've been to all these different facilities, you've, dealt with a lot of different people and a lot of different, work environments. What qualities do you think help a facility help to have nurses like you transition in easier? Like, what have you noticed that facilities would do, or maybe someone that's like trains you a little bit or something like that to help your transition in smoothly?
so I'm gonna what question and what is that?
Hey.
Thank you. Because I try to put down some ideas.
Yeah, yeah.
So okay, yeah. So I think what I did find to be the most helpful is if a facility had a structured onboarding for travel nurses.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's not the same as an onboarding for a new employee because it's going to be longer. So a new employee gets 12 weeks
Yeah.
to on 12 weeks to have a preceptor into learn. Travelers, you got to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
So some facilities did it really well. We
Hmm.
covered this in this little snapshot. And your orientation, if you have a strong orientation, it was easier to transition in quickly and
Hmm.
effectively.
Yeah.
Some other places where you just felt like you were just kind of thrown in without all of the information. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know
Yeah.
until you know.
And
It's
figure it
like,
out. Yeah. Yeah.
well, wait. But I also think most of the time, because of my specialty
Hmm.
being very specific,
Hmm.
I feel like it was easier for them to pair me with a mentor
Yeah.
because a pack is a small one.
Yeah.
And so
I've never even heard
everything is
of so. I said I've never even heard of that like specialty. So that it must, yeah.
what it is patients that go to surgery.
Hmm.
I be the pack is the very first stop where they come out of surgery.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're just waking up from anesthesia. They may still at the time have to do a tracheal tube or a breathing tube.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a very, very specific. We didn't keep patients in the PACU for very long. If they were
Hmm.
out 30 minutes, if they're
Yeah.
inpatients, the most in most situations was 2 hours. So just to get them situated, get their pain under control, get some of their stop medication started and that kind of thing. So it's a very specialized department of the hospital. So some of your friends might be considering going to school to be a certified registered nurse anesthetist.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm
So
looking at actually. So yeah.
I did not. So I didn't realize you're in nursing school.
No, I'm gonna apply this summer. So hopefully I'll get in for next summer, next year.
You're kind of, are you changing your?
I've always been nursing, but it's just Caitlin is in the 2+2, and I was gonna do 4 years Ole Miss and then 1 year of nursing school.
Oh, you're gonna do the, ooh, that's a challenging one.
I know.
So I
Yeah.
do know someone, our season ticket holders for the Ole Miss football game,
Yes. Yes.
daughter.
Mhm.
And if you ever want a connection,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
can connect you with her. She
Yeah.
was an Ole Miss student, did the
Uh-huh.
4+1,
Hmm.
and said it was real, that one year
It's a
was
lot.
too
Yeah. Yeah.
lot.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm more than happy to connect you to her. Her
Yes.
name's Emily,
I would love that. Yeah.
Freeman. And yeah, so anyhow, um,
Definitely connect me with her. Um, so obviously you come into these new facilities, you don't really know who you're going to be working with. How do you feel like you ensured clear, good communication? Did you feel that you like sometimes like couldn't communicate well or like didn't have a voice on certain issues? How did you handle with that?
on the voice on certain issues, I'm not gonna lie to you, because here's the thing. As a travel nurse,
You're
I
not alone.
didn't feel the need that voice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I felt like I was there temporarily to help them through some kind of moment in time where they just needed someone to fill in.
Yeah.
As, that question was interesting to me because I think there's people out there who always want to have a voice
Yeah.
and who always want to be heard.
Hmm.
I didn't feel that was my role.
Yeah. Yeah. That I understand.
It's the work done. Now, obviously, if I saw something that needed to
Could
be
be
addressed,
yes. Yes.
I go through the channels, the proper channels of communication to ensure that would be addressed. But I never had that problem.
Yeah, that's good.
Um, it didn't happen to be an
Hmm.
issue for me.
Hmm.
But I think, like going into things, you have to be approachable. You
Yeah.
have to be a person that people are going to want to talk to, right? And here's the other thing, because of back in the day for travel nursing, and I think it's changed now. It's a different dynamic, but it's just one man helping, lending and helping.
Yeah.
And in my experience, everyone was appreciative.
Hmm.
Ran into a couple of providers. I can remember one in particular. He was not. We kind of clashed a little. I didn't have the chance to build trust. Um, I'll be honest, I made a mistake once,
Hmm.
and we're all human, right? And I think that that mistake was his experience with me, and he felt that I wasn't trustworthy. I sent a patient home with their IV still in.
Yeah.
And,
Um,
was not happy about that. And
mhm.
I mean, I reported it to him. I followed the proper channels. So like the patient called when they got home and said, oh, still have the IV again. So I said you could either return and I will do that for you, or I
Mhm.
can walk you through how to take it out. I said it's super simple.
Yeah.
I can walk you through it. And
Yeah.
if you have any problems at all, you can come back.
Mhm.
And I reported it to that provider. Hey, here's what happened. Wanted you to know this is
Mhm.
what happened. That way, when they come in for their follow up, you're aware.
Yeah.
And he was livid. He was super angry.
Yeah.
And in healthcare, I think it's gotten better, but there's that hierarchy
Mhm.
of where providers think that they are superior to
Yeah.
nursing. I feel like that dynamic has changed through the years where it is a team approach. Um, and there's not, now again, I'm not at the bedside as a much anymore, so I don't
Right.
see it because
Right.
of the role I'm in now. I am part of the administration. I am part of that executive team, and that's what I work with. So I may be a little bit blind to
Yeah.
it. Um, but I do feel like it is a team approach. Like we can't do our job without one another.
Right. Yeah.
In every aspect. So I think I think it's all about again trust.
Yeah. I agree. I like what you said about just like you have to be approachable. I think that's good. People need to feel like they can talk to you. You don't have to just always be the one talking to them, that they can come to you and they feel like they can, you know,
Another thing is just today I'm feeling I need to throw this out there, but if you are in a situation and okay, like in the pack you get patients as assigned. So as they come out of the ORC, there might be a time where you
Yes.
When you go to them and say, without stepping on the, how many patients,
Yeah.
if sitting in the seat, now play on my phone or
Yeah.
take a break or go do something. Like, go help your colleague.
Right.
It's going to build trust. That's going to build relationships. That's going to make you more approachable,
Mhm.
or valuable as a member of the team,
Mhm.
because you're not just sitting back and watching them work.
Yeah.
You're
You're actively
you're
helping. Yeah.
actively part of the solution.
Hmm.
Help them, and I think that's huge for if you want to fit in and you want to be respected and appreciated. Us nurses want to feel appreciated
Yeah.
and make yourself feel appreciated by helping, helping it, even if it's someone who you don't necessarily have the most best relationship with, still
Mhm.
go help them because that can go a long way
Yeah.
building that relationship for sure.
No, definitely. Do you have any advice for someone who's considering being a travel nurse?
So yes,
Yes.
if you want to travel, the only thing one major thing I can say is have a strong foundation.
Yeah.
Don't do it right out of the chute. Like you have got to, for your own confidence, like the first thing you want to do is go whatever field that interests you.
Hmm.
Like whatever, like if that's mother baby
Yeah. Hmm.
or surgical services,
Right.
go spend some time, at least a year.
Hmm.
Doing that.
Hmm.
I, I think I did it for, let's see, I graduated in 90, at the end of 94. I didn't travel until for 3 years.
Hmm.
So I've had 3 solid years of recovery room experience, PACU experience.
Yeah.
I do think that that's number one.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, also, so confidence, experience,
I think if I did travel nurse, I would want to do like kind of what you did, where you go to the same unit every time and you are able to like learn a lot about that unit and be like very, have all this expertise in that one unit so that when you go somewhere else and it's all different, at least you have that foundation and you know like what to expect and what to do.
yes, because really then the only, and especially if it's a specialized area,
Yeah.
because the only thing that's going to be different is possibly documentation,
Yeah.
which back in the day, we only documented on paper.
Hmm.
It wasn't electronic documentation, so I didn't have to learn the documentation system every
Yeah.
time. I just had to learn how the paper documents. I don't know if one's easier than the other at this point in time, but also I think you have to understand the lifestyle of the travelers, right? So you have to understand that you're going to be on the road and you're not going to have any kind of consistent employment. Like,
Yeah.
so you have 13-week assignment and that's guaranteed, but what about the next 13 weeks? Um, I think a lot of places too, I don't know, right now, travelers, well, I don't know if it's so much as travelers were making an ungodly amount of money. Like, and there was a lot of resistance by facility staff, long-term employees.
Mhm.
There was such a big difference. So I think know what you're getting into.
Mhm.
Um, research the travel, the agency that you're going to work for.
Okay. Yeah.
Make sure it's a good agency and get to know your recruiter and like your recruiter. If you
Yeah.
don't like your recruiter, try to be a recruiter or
Mhm.
any agents because they're going to steer you in the right direction
Yeah.
and they're going to get diagnosis for you. Um, have good um, um, interview skills
Yeah.
because you do have to interview for all of those positions, which also is another really good thing because you learn to interview well.
Yeah.
Go to it with a learning attitude.
Hmm.
Like, perfect. It may not be the perfect excitement. This is the attitude I have. I think it makes, right? It's only 13 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go into it with that attitude that I'm going to learn something. Have a plan. What do I want to learn in this experience? What do I want to take away? And that way you will feel like accomplished something at the assignment.
Yeah.
And it'll also give you something to look forward to throughout the assignment. Um,
Okay, well, thank you so much. I think it's about to run out of time. I was trying to figure out how to extend it for a minute, but I don't know how to. I'm not experienced enough, but
just help, if I could just give you some feedback, I think you really transitioned well between questions and you've interviewed beautifully.
thank you.
I'm very impressed with how easily you went through the whole process and transitioning from question to question.
Thank you
So,
so
um,
much. That's so nice. You were my first interviewer, so I was like a little nervous, but thank you so much.
it helps that we know each other a little bit.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have fun tonight. Tell my daughter I said hello. Give her a hug for me because she
I
loves hugs.
I will. She loves them. She told me to tell you hi.
All right, Jess.
Yes, I'll see you tomorrow, I'm sure. Yes, I will. Bye.
Well, maybe Friday. Oh no, you're leaving. Are you leaving?
I'm leaving on Friday. I'm going to my sister's house. She's doing she stages homes. So she's doing like this big parade of homes in Lafayette, Louisiana, and so we're going to see it.
That would be like my dream. Like I wish I were good at that. I love that was my husband and I's first date. We went to like open houses in this like historic district. So
Uh-huh.
anyhow,
That's so cool.
but yes, but oh, have so much fun with that.
I
That's
know. I'm excited. Wait, what'd you say? Sorry.
it was your sister?
Yes. She just started her new business, so this is like her first big project. So we're proud of her. We're going to see. I know.
Well, have so much fun.
Yes, yes. I bet y'all have a good weekend.
I know, I'm ready.
Yes, I know. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Safe